Testing, testing. What's up, guys? This is Mike Loris. I'm going to be casting another game from the International. This is going to be another preliminary game between Absolute Legends and don't look away. Yeah, okay, Absolute Legends as well as Mouz Sports, and they kind of picked pretty fast. Bans completely normal. There's absolutely nothing to say about those. Those were pretty much the hot bans at the International, unless you're Navi, in which case you don't ban Naga Siren, you just kill her. Absolute Legends picking up Lone Druid as well as the Rubik, so they're gonna have someone to farm and someone to support. Mouz Sports got that Broodmother, and Mouz Sports do like to play the Broodmother pretty weirdly, if I remember correctly, but we'll see if it's just gonna be a regular Broodmother. It really is. It doesn't matter. It'll all be the same. It'll just be another nuisance on the well, Mouz Sports is gonna be on the Radiant, so most likely on the top lane. Mouz Sports, of course, is playing with a stand-in. They're playing with Kuroki, because Come With Me, I believe, had some sort of travel issue that they knew ahead of time. And, well, that's kind of weird. The Enchantress Venomancer picked up a Mouz Sports, so their support is A-OK. They're going to be 100% good on the support, but the Enchantress textures, like, apply retroactively to these replays. I mean, I guess this kind of makes sense, but it just looks weird because I haven't actually seen those Enchantress textures there. Now she looks really, really weird. Absolute Legends picking up Sand King, so already they have a pretty sick dual lane, or at least a two-hero combination within that Rubik and Sand King. It's a lot of lockdown time, and if Absolute Legends decide to lane those two with the Lone Druid, then they could start feeding Lone Druid quite a few kills, because Enchantress as well as Venomancer are both extremely soft heroes, and if you could lock them up for, what is it, like 1 point something, 2.17, and then, well, let's say like 2 seconds, so it's like 4 seconds of disable if they chain it off perfectly. And Enchantress, even if you just right click her for 4 seconds, she's probably gonna go down. Absolute Legends recognizing that Mouz Sports still needs a carry hero for Black to play, banning out, well, there you go, both carries, both of the popular carries, I guess. They have the third popular carry, the Lone Druid, so there's not going to be any Anti-Mage, not going to be any Morphling, Tinker, or Queen of Pain. Mouz Sports recognizing that Absolute Legends most likely are going to lack a mid hero, so that's why they have banned out the Queen of Pain as well as the Tinker. Now, Mouz Sports, Absolute Legends were on the right track. They kind of forced their hand. As I said before, the top three go-to carries are banned out in the Lone Druid, Morphling, and the Anti-Mage. So Mouz Sports, if they want to actually pick up a carry, they're going to have to work for it. Shadow Shaman is going to be their fourth pickup, so it looks like they're going to actually gear up for a very large pushing strategy. Shadow Shaman is, of course, a support hero that can push along with Venomancer and Enchantress, so they have a lot of potential early game to push down those towers. Unfortunately, Shrek, not an available option for them, but Invoker is still in. That's actually kind of weird. Absolute Legends pick up Invoker, put him in that mid lane. That would actually be pretty good for them, in my opinion, because Mouz Sports so far lack a really good mid lane. They're gonna be forced to, I don't know, put a dual lane there, or maybe a solo mid Shadow Shaman, but I feel like an Invoker would win over a Shadow Shaman 100% of the time, regardless of whether or not you go for an Exort build or for a Quas build. But we'll see what Absolute Legends wants to do. They need someone to hold on to the other lanes. They need basically two heroes that could solo. Something like the Enigma might not be that bad. You put them on a long lane. Of course, Enigmas usually do jungle, and then that'll force the Rubik somewhere else. But regardless, it'll all work out well if they manage to pick up a couple of heroes with a lot of lane control. Anyway, the new patch just came out, which means Meepo is out. And yeah, I know I'm pretty behind on these, but I think I have a better opportunity. I'm going to just cast these Starlighter games. I picked up a ticket to that, and it's broken, so I don't see any of the replays, so I figured I might as well cast some International, because these are top-tier teams duking it out. Now, the real unfortunate thing is that both of these teams I'm pretty sure both these teams, well, I know Absolute Legends isn't sponsoring these players anymore, so these players are Natural 9. I think they're all together still, so that's good on them. But they're no longer known as Absolute Legends, and Mouz pretty much all went their own way. I think, I know Sing Sing is still on Mouz Sports, 157 moves. I'm pretty sure Black is not on a team or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, the Dota scene is very turbulent right now, so it's nice to look back at a time when everything was nice and stable and all the teams were performing at 100%. Absolute Legends picking up a Crystal Maiden, so it is going to force Rubik into a non-support role, I would have to say. Because Lone Druid, so far they don't have really anyone to take the farm on their team except for Lone Druid. Mouse Sports got their hand forced, and they are responding with a Mirana pick. Now the Mirana pick, she could solo a lane, or she could pair up very well with either the Venomancer or Shadow Shaman, or even both, depending on how Mouse Sports want to lane it. Might be a Shadow Shaman solo mid with a Venomancer Mirana, but Absolute Legends is going to cap off their lineup with the Storm Spirit, so there's the other person to get the farm. So now their Rubik is probably going to be forced back into support. But they do still have a Crystal Maiden to really be that hard support. You can see Snoopy picking that up, his usual support player on Absolute Legends, but that'll also give them their solo lane. Their lanes, I mean, like, both teams have like this, well, these middle three heroes on both teams, kind of support-oriented heroes, and in that sense, it's kind of unpredictable as to how they're actually going to be laned, but that also means that they have a lot of flexibility as to how they're going to be laned, so it all works out in the end. On the Absolute Legends side, we have Musica playing the Storm Spirit, Bleak taking up his usual role, the hard carry role on the Lone Druid, Snoopy supporting the bald Crystal Maiden. What the hell is that? That's so weird. Godot's playing the Rubik with Shaitan on the Sand King. On the Mouse Board side, Black playing the usual hard carry role on the Mirana, 157 supporting with the Venomancer, Sing Sing on the Shadow Shaman, so he is going to be going mid. He saved a little bit of his gold, so he's going to try to get a little bit of a faster bottle. Bambo playing the Broodmother. I think I might have been thinking of the wrong team that plays the Broodmother. Yeah, I think I was. And the stand-in for Mouz, Kuroki playing the Enchantress in the jungle, it looks like. Already picking up a Smoke of Deceit, so you know that he wants to start things really quickly in the bear. Unfortunately, labeled a Lycan Wolf. Is this another? Yeah, it is another. Well, this one's a tower. That works. Building. That is a building, indeed. Yeah, the names are all screwed up in these. I don't know. Guys. I don't know, but they found the bear. And the bear is going to be being a little bit of a nuisance. They want to drive him off. Put as much damage as you can on the bear, because why not? It's free damage. It's going to be one more thing for the Lone Druid to watch out for. The Lone Druid was going to try to do his creep pulling shenaniganry over here, but Mouse Sports positioned very well to defend themselves against that. So Black is going to be on the bot lane supported, but by 1437 as well as the Enchantress Kuroki. Sing Sing soloing mid up against Bleak, so they're actually going to solo lane the Lone Druid. Now, Shadow Shaman versus Lone Druid. Lone Druid can harass very well. Shadow Shaman can harass decently once he gets a couple points of those Ether Shock. So this lane should be fairly stable. No one really should die there. Shaitan, he kind of got screwed over by the lane composition of AL. He's going to be a Sand King soloing bot, so he knows he's not going to get anything here with the Venomancer slithering around, so he's just going to do the smart thing, go back as far as he can and block the creeps to get the creeps as close to the tower as he possibly can. Bambo, meanwhile, on the top lane, up against Snoopy as a Crystal Maiden as well as Musica. Snoopy's going to do his job as a support hero. Already have a Sentry Ward down. Necronomicon Archer, that must be a level 3 Necronomicon, because it has True Sight, and Snoopy is just going to put as much hurt as he can onto the Broodmother. Try to make sure he's out of the experience range. That will allow Musica to have as much free time as he possibly wants. He's going to get all those creep kills. Might get a bottle. Yeah, it's not unlikely that he'll get a bottle. And then he'll be able to just get complete free farm. So we're going to see what he wants to do with that. On the other side, however, Mirana is also going to get a lot more free farm. And, well, free farming Mirana versus a free farming Storm Spirit, it's kind of hard to judge which one is actually better, because Mirana is more of a late game hero than Storm Spirit, but Storm Spirit definitely has a stronger mid game. Of course, those are kind of arbitrary terms as far as all of this goes, but Storm Spirit will not really be the right clicker that Mirana will be if she gets enough time to get everything that she actually wants out of this lane. Storm Spirit will be able to leave the lane a little bit earlier. Once he gets level 6, he is such a potent threat. He can just go anywhere he wants and kill the weak heroes like Sing Sing, Shadow Shaman, SSSS that are, that's in the mid lane, 400 HP, or even Bambo. Bambo's not in any safety either, with Snoopy just always being right next to him, throwing those little ice balls at him. And I have to... Oh, no, I don't have to sneeze. Fought it off. Smoke now. 1437 is going to reveal himself. Bleak, you gotta move, man. He takes a full gale, as well as a shot coming out, and he's just gonna get right-clicked down. Bleak, you are so dead, sir. The poison damage. Mouz, Kuroki drew first blood by killing no one. I don't know. That's broken, but Enchantress picking up first blood. She's gonna be happy about that. Wow, 970 gold already. She is loaded. The hell? Oh, I thought the game froze. No, she just stopped moving. Oh, on the top lane, Bambo is gonna be in a whole lot of trouble. She got absolutely ganked by the two support heroes as well as Musica. So both teams trading blows kind of evenly. Of course, Mouz got the better end of that trade because of the first blood bonus. Now Enchantress with 1,000 gold. What is she going to go for? She could go for any number of things. She's going to go for boots. Fair enough. And probably going to get like wards or, you know, some smoke or something like that. Something boring. No carry Enchantress build quite yet, but I wasn't actually expecting that, so everything's fine. As far as the creep score goes, let's actually take a look at that. That is not the creep scoreboard. There we go. Leading the way is Black on the Mirana, not surprisingly at all. So he's having a great time down on that bot lane. Musica is a little bit behind him, but Musica got an assist where Black was just chilling, or did he get a kill? No, he got an assist. Whereas the Mirana was just chilling down on the bot lane, so he's going to be a little bit farther ahead as far as experience goes, or she should be. No, he's not, because Snoopy has been taking all of his experience, whereas 1437 yeah, he's not taking as much experience. He got an assist of his own. Shtan not getting anything. 1-1. What a sad lane for the Sand King. Only level 1, and Black is just chilling. He doesn't care. He's going to get all of his basic items. He might even just skip some basic items and go for something very big, and I would very much like to see that, because it's awesome. Snow Druid forced to send his bear back, using it to harass Sing Sing very aggressively, who does not have a bottle. He has almost enough. He actually opted for boots first instead. That is a very clear indication that he wants to be more aggressive. He wants to be able to close those distances and be able to land the Hex or the Shackle, or even both. And it's a lot easier when you have boots, but unfortunately your mana cost, he's already pretty low on mana, and oh no, that Wildkin, but Sing Sing already kind of low on mana, so he's not going to be able to actually be that effective when he's ganking. I mean, like, yeah, he'll get both of his sables off, but he won't be able to really cap off with his shock, and that's what he's been investing most of his points in, but until he gets the bottle, there you go. Now Sing Sing can choose to drop his wards, but that will probably end up being free farm for Bleak, unless Kuroki is here. He only has one Centaur, though. Only has one creep when he could have two. I'm going to go for Bleak anyway, because this tornado is being so annoying to him. Enchant goes off, and the Centaur's looking for a stomp. He does land it, and there goes the Shadow Shaman throwing his yellow ball of energy from his Sticks of Doom. Teleport's coming into the mid lane. It is going to be Snoopy, who instantly gets a full face of Serpent Wards, and Sing Sing actually... Oh, no, he doesn't. She dies to the creeps. Like, 2 creeps got that kill. But that was not a good decision for that Crystal Maiden. She burned a whole lot of her gold for absolutely nothing. She spent the 135 to actually teleport down there, and then, of course, died, losing even more gold. Unless, yeah, she lost quite a bit of gold from that. Shadow Shaman did drop the wards and pick up a kill. I'm sure he would rather have wanted to use those wards for a tower. But, you know, kill tower. As long as you get yourself ahead. Oh no, Godot just got slowed by Enchanted. Sing Sing with the haste rune. Sing Sing is going to get telekinesis, but Godot unable to throw him anywhere. And Sing Sing is just going to right-click him down. The Shadow Shaman making off like a bandit. We're going to run away with his now finished Arcane Boots as well as Bottle. So 202, he quickly racked up his score pretty high. Now he has those Arcane Boots. Musica still farming on the top lane. But the problem for Absolute Legends is that... two very dangerous heroes for Mouz at this point. The Shadow Shaman as well as the Mirana are getting big, and Bleak is getting nothing. He has 2 deaths, 17 creep kills. Not the best at this portion of the game, especially considering he wasn't really shut down 100%. The lane was more or less an even fight. So AL is a little bit on the back foot. Let's actually take a look at how much. Yeah, it's not looking that great for them. 4,000 gold advantage for both gold and experience, actually. That's pretty cool, the graphs line up like that. but Mouz is sitting at a pretty good lead. And wow, this lead for Mouz is only going to get stronger if AL don't do anything, because Mirana has now picked up a hand of Midas, so she's going to just be rolling in the dough. Already Mouz forcing a little bit of pressure onto this bot lane. Chitan's actually going to be okay with that, because the tower is not going to go down unless Sing Sing transitions down here with his Shadow Shaman. But Chitan on the Sand King is taking this push to mean, hey, free experience. I wasn't getting any experience before, but I sure as hell am getting some experience now. Bambo still on the top lane. He's getting shut down pretty hard too, but he has got his soul ring, which means the unlimited spiderling harassment will inevitably come Musica's way. Musica's going to have to play a little bit cutesy with that, unless Bambo just wants to get it. Use them for creep kills. That's fair enough too. Level 6 versus the level 5 Broodmother. Kind of, well, actually, it's kind of good for Bambo. I would have expected a little bit less from him, considering the Crystal Maiden was just constantly there. Apparently, she's recovering from chemotherapy. But the Lone Druid still not with much. Does he have any boots? No, he has nothing. He's going completely naked. He was, I don't know if he was rushing a straight up relic or if he's just holding his gold for some other reason, but he's pretty poor. I'm sure Absolute Legends expected a little bit more farm from Bleak, a little bit more safety from Bleak, but he simply could not deliver on either of those accounts. Mirana is still farming 54 CS versus, 28 CS, so 2 times the CS, not a good situation at all. Musica is taking quite a bit of damage from Bambo with that soul ring, as well as the webs for unlimited health regeneration and unlimited mana. Snoopy is actually going to teleport out from those spiderlings. He knew that he would have taken a whole lot of damage. Now a smoke gang. Chitan is looking for a brush strike on Sing Sing. He is going to land it. Is Godot going to get the telekinesis as well? Yes, he is. Sing Sing also got entangled by the bear, and Bleak is going to get a kill on the Shadow Shaman. He's going to be happy about that. Okay, Bambo also dying on the top lane. Musica and Snoopy doing work on the spider. I was just about to say that Snoopy probably wasn't happy about having to use that teleportation scroll simply to jump up to the tower, but he made up for it. He got a kill assist, and I'm sure he's happy about that. And what's more important is I'm sure Musica is happy about that. He's going to go for an Orchid, which will help quite a bit against Mirana, prevent her from leaping out, but it'll also increase the damage by so much on basically whoever they want to kill. Godot and Chitan still on this bottom lane, trying to fend off the push from Mouz. It's kind of a weak push. They're not actually aiming to bust down the tower. They're just slowly whittling it down. I say that until Shadow Shaman comes here with his Serpent Wards up. Doesn't look like he actually wants to use them though. Maybe he's going to get the Illusion Rune and then use the illusions as a little bit of an extra tower buffer. Or maybe they just want to keep the tower up. That'll ensure that the creep wave is within Black's reach so that he can keep farming. And if Mouz don't want to actually bring down this tower, that would actually be a little bit of a tactical play there. Because that would ensure that Black has creeps in this area as opposed to, like, all the way up here. That will make him a lot safer. And really, at the tower at this point, with 500 HP, they could just simply drop the Serpent Wards and then take that bag of gold whenever they decide to. Bear forced to get resummoned by Bleak. He has 2,300 gold right now. It's actually quite a bit. He's on his way. No, he's not. He's going to buy everything. I don't understand why people do this. Like, if you're going to get those items, then just get them when you could afford them. Don't hold gold so you could lose it all at one chance. I don't know. I'm sure Bleak knows a little bit more about this game than I do. But the push on the mid lane, Sing Sing has not dropped his wards. Bleak is coming in with his bear, and there's Chitan around the corner. He's going to look for a 2-man burrow strike. He's only going to get 1 man. Sing Sing is stunned, and he's going to telekinesis up. He's going to go take a fall. Here's a zip in from Musica, going after 147. Something got stolen. It is probably the Gale. It did get stolen. Kuroki in the trees, trying to juke out the rest of the AL squad, but it looks like he's going to be okay, actually, with the little sprites of healing. Nature Attendants keeping him alive. Unfortunately, Mouz did lose the solo mid Shadow Shaman as well as the support Venomancer. They did draw quite a few people there. 4 people ended up on that mid lane, and Godot actually denying that bot lane tower, so very good play by him. Denying a whole lot of gold to Bleak. Top tower is taking a lot of damage from these spiderlings, however, Musica and Snoopy will not stand for it. They have enough AoE to completely demolish any spiderling army. And now Sand King finally has hit level 6. It's very poor considering his really crappy start, but he's still very dangerous. A level 6 Sand King will kill a whole bunch of people. If he gets a Burrow Strike Epicenter on Shadow Shaman's going to be pretty much dead, I would say. Especially with Bleak there to support. Bleak has spent all of his gold, got Tranquil Boots, and you know, the standard stuff, Phase Boots, as well as the Orb of Venom on his bear. So it looks like he gave up on his Naked Relic Rush. Didn't look like it was going to work for him anyway. Mirana now has completed all of her basic items, got the upgraded boots, got the Ring of Aquila, as well as the Magic Stick. Burrow Strike now onto Black, not going to follow up on it, however. He gets stunned somehow. I don't know how that happened. Arrow point blank, that was what it was. Sand King takes a fall from Mirana. And now with 3 heroes from Mouz on the spot lane, they could slowly start putting pressure on it. The creep wave is a little bit far away, and they do not have the Serpent Wards to drop down. Serpent Wards actually got dropped down in the mid lane. He's going to hex up the bear so that he doesn't deny it. Very good play by the Shadow Shaman, kind of cutting off his shackle a little bit prematurely, but he didn't really need to disable the bear at all. It was mostly just to keep him away from that tower while he secured that kill, which he did. So good play by him, picking up that tower. In the meantime, his entire team is pushing on the bot lane. You know, except for Bambo, who's going to pretty much stick on that top lane for the entire game. As spiders do, they build their webs, and then they just stick in their web. Venomancer, surprisingly, picking up a Buckler. I'm not saying that's surprising because it's a bad item, or like it's a surprising item. It's because I'm surprised he actually has enough gold to afford it. Being a support Venomancer and all. Oh no, Bleak might be in a little bit of trouble. His bear is very weak. They could actually just kill the bear, but so Snoopy, you guys got completely ganked. Blink forward by Sing Sing. You got a Blink Dagger. Bleak is now going to take a fall as well. The impetus damage from Kuroki simply too much for Bleak to bear. I hate, yeah, puns. So Lone Druid couldn't bear the damage of those impetuses, and I'm sure he was also surprised by the Blink Dagger pickup by Shadow Shaman. In the meantime, however, Crystal Maiden got picked off solo by the Broodmother. I definitely did not expect that to happen. You'd expect Broodmother to play extremely cautiously because, well, she's up against 2 other heroes who are pretty deadly, a lot of lockdown, a lot of magical damage. But apparently Snoopy just got a little bit too ahead of herself, and Shaitan knows he was in a pretty bad spot, forced a Burrow Strike out of there before an arrow came and, you know, messed up his day, ruined his day. Mirana with an Ultimate Orb going for the Manta style, and once he gets that, Mouz can put on some very aggressive pushing. They've already been kind of pushing, but not really in the sense that they're going to, you know, mark the towers, call down the towers, and then bring them down. They've been kind of whittling around the towers, whittling down the towers, forcing AL to mobilize heroes in a way that they may not have wanted to in the first place. And so far they have taken only 2 towers down, but they have scratched the bottom tier 2, they've scratched the mid tier 2. The top lane is also not so healthy at all. And with the Serpent Wards, with soon to be level 2 Serpent Wards, as well as the damage coming from Mirana, who's going to have Manta style eventually, they can really start tearing down these towers. AL do have a little bit of AoE. They do have that Sand King ultimate and Burrow Strike, as well as the Storm Spirit, Crystal Maiden. Arrow going to fly out, not hit on Shaitan. So they could conceivably hold a push from Mouz. But every time those Serpent Wards are up, Mouz could do something very aggressive with them. Doesn't look like they're actually going to, though. They seem to be content with letting the Shadow Shaman farm. They're letting everyone farm. That is going to be a trade-off, because at the same time, well, Bleak's not getting much, but Musica is getting quite a bit. He almost has his Orchid. And Mouz have to be aware at the exact point of when Bleak picks, not Bleak, the Musica picks up his Orchid, because if you get surprised with the Orchid, if you get surprised by a Sheepstick, any of those big items, then you're in for a world of hurt. But both teams seem to be content with letting each other do pretty much whatever they want, and I don't know, Gloves of Haste, Bleak is going to go for a Maelstrom, looks like. So, I guess it's okay. I mean, let's actually take a look at it so we could analyze how good it actually is on this bear. Maelstrom will give him that, what is it, like 120 damage on the Maelstrom, which is magical AoE, which in a little bit ago they used to say that if you can't go for Radiance, go for Maelstrom. Now Blink in, gonna go for Musica, instant hex, and wards as well. Snoopy is gonna take a fall as well. There's simply too much burst damage here. Godot, I don't know what you're doing here. Bro strike in from Shaitan, gonna channel off that epicenter, gonna land on Kuroki, but Kuroki's level 10, 3 points in that healing, and oh wow, he actually managed to steal the Serpent Ward. There are wards everywhere. What is going on right now? The wards are gonna be battling each other, and Shaitan is somehow still alive. Bleak is now coming in. The bear is chasing down 157, but Sing Sing is still here. He's gonna just instantly shock down that Sand King. 157 might be in a little bit of trouble from Bleak still, but Sing Sing is actually body blocking him until the bear, of course, phases through. 157 still taking the right clicks, but the shackle from Bleak is gonna hold the bear, is gonna hold the main bear too far away from his spirit bear, so he's unable to attack. This entangled now going onto Sing Sing, but Bleak still getting chased down by the Broodmother, who's returned and got another kill. Tower has gone down, and even though the Rubik did some pretty good work stealing those wards, oh no, Black might be in a little bit of trouble. Pull in and silenced from Musica, and Mirana just got a little bit too careless, got surprised by that Orchid Malevolence, and she did pay for it with her life, and definitely not what you want to have happen as a Mirana player. But I'm sure Mouz on the whole is pretty much okay with it. They had a very good engagement on the top lane, and they pay for it with a couple of their own as well as the Mirana, but they're still pulling themselves further and further ahead. They have almost 10,000 gold advantage, 7,500 experience advantage. So they're looking to be pretty good. Lone Druid unfortunately did die there, so he's a little bit farther away from whatever he wants to accomplish. As I was saying about the Maelstrom, it's usually your fallback if you don't feel like you get a Radiance quickly, or you don't feel like you get a Radiance at all. Then that does allow your bear to do a little bit more, get that AoE, and really the whole idea of Radiance and Maelstrom or Mjolnir on the bear is that you're so tanky that you could sit there and just dish out as much damage as you can, and if it's magical damage, then well, that's going to be a lot of constant AoE magical damage, because each time you hit, you do have that chance to proc, and the Radiance burn is there as well. It's just constant magical damage pouring out. But of course, the downside is that even if the bear gets shackled or disabled in any way, then the damage will stop coming out, because the bear will rely on his right clicks, which is something that most of the time is not really the issue with the Lone Druid until the game draws to the later stages, if he goes for the Radiance build, of course. But enough about that. Going to keep following along with Absolute Legends. They're moving around in kind of odd way. They're clearing out their own jungle. They're getting a little bit more farm, but really they have to make something happen. Their bear is not nearly as farmed as this Mirana. Mirana's sitting at 135 creep kills, 467 gold per minute. She's farming up a storm right now, and the bear only at 319. So the longer AL draw this out, the longer they're going to, the lower their chances are going to be of actually coming back into this game. Because really, they're on the back foot now, but Mouse Sports heroes, although they're strong, although they do have some pretty important core items, Blink Dagger and Shadow Shaman. Not yet Manta on the Mirana, but she could pick it up very shortly. If they let them get tanky, then they're in a lot of trouble. But right now, like, the Shadow Shaman's pretty soft, the Broodmother is fairly soft. Well, she's almost at her Orchid, and AL could actually make something happen with that. Oh no, Sing Sing blinking in for Shaitan. The insatiable hunger pops by Bamboo, but Musica instantly zips in, and Shaitan goes back into his invisibility form. Burst Strike gonna kill the Shadow Shaman. Bamboo slowed down a lot by Musica. He's looking for that Sand King. Sand King managing to get himself away from the teleportation. Beautiful support play by Musica, instantly teleporting out of there. But Mouz bit off a little bit more than they could shoot. Did not even get that Sand King kill. They actually lined up perfectly for a double burst strike, and of course the support coming in from Musica. Just beautiful play by Absolute Legends. But yeah, Mouz, they're strong, they have aggressive items, but the problem is for them is that they're still very soft, and the longer that the game goes on, they're going to shore up that weakness. But AL, if they keep taking trades like that, if they keep getting constant picks, they're going to increase their chances of actually coming back into this game. I don't think farming is the way to go, because Mouz does have the Broodmother as well as the Mirana, and granted AL does have that Lone Druid, he doesn't really have enough to keep up with the farm. What is this? Starstorm. Starstorm stolen by a Rubik, not the best, but you steal anything you can get. Lots of Mouz Sports heroes now grouping up in their jungle. Maybe suspicious of Absolute Legends trying to go for Roshan. Even Broodmother has left that top lane and is going to push out the mid lane a little bit. Maybe he's trying to act as a little bit of a bait. But 1-for-37, setting up a whole bunch of wards. They're very suspicious of Absolute Legends trying to go for Roshan. Absolute Legends, though, they're not anywhere near thinking of going for Roshan yet. They're actually just continuing to farm up their lanes while a whole bunch of Mouz Sports heroes waste their time in their own jungle. I'm sure AL is going to be happy about that. Now AL grouping up, looks like for a smoke. They don't actually have a smoke, though. Come on. Yes, there is a smoke, so they might be going for a smoke, but they're dispersing, so I don't know what they're doing. Both teams seem to be suspicious of the others going for Roshan. Looks like it's not going to be the case, but Mouz Sports, they don't really have to push the issue. They could farm the Mirana up, and Mirana, although she's not the hardest carry, she will, considering the advantage that she has now, she will be able to scale up as the game progresses and really be the one dealing out the damage. Bambo as well, he'll be able to step up, fill that damage role. He already has his Orchid complete. It is currently flying out to him. And if he gets that, slaps it on the Sand King, slaps it on the Storm Spirit, well then they'll both be very unhappy customers. They could just simply right click them down with the huge amount of chasing and lockdown potential that Mouz possesses. Storm Spirit now zipping in, going for 1-for-57. He instantly pops out of his ultimate. Musica just doing so much damage. He does pick up the Venomancer kill, and he got a killing spree for himself, using the rest of his mana to get himself out of there. And it looks like he will survive. Bambo pops off his insatiable hunger, trying to go in, but Musica is simply too fast, and 157 is simply too weak. No mech up on him yet. But the Storm Spirit just dished out that damage with that Orchid, amplifying all of his moves by a lot. What is the actual? It's 25%, so it's not bad at all. Blink Burrow Strike now onto Black. They have to lock him down. He used Leap for some reason. I don't know why Black has Leap on cooldown, but Black is completely surrounded by Absolute Legends heroes, and you can even see Shaitan moving down the lane so that when the Mirana leaps, he would be right there to intercept. Now the counter push coming in from Mouz. They're all going to fall back, however. But those are the exact kind of picks that I'm talking about. That's what AL needs to get back in this game. Let's actually take a look at the difference in gold. It stopped going up for Mouz, which is good for AL, but of course they would like to bring it back onto their side. But the experience bar slowly dipping down towards the favor of Absolute Legends. If they continue with this trend of getting picks, and if the Lone Druid is a part of those picks, then they're slowly going to bring themselves back into this game, especially if the people that they kill are, consists of the Mirana. If they keep down the Mirana, then that's how AL gets back into this. Mouz Sports not really using their pushing lineup all that much. I mean, they have pushed down a whole lot more towers than AL, but you'd expect a whole lot more. The wards haven't really been used to aggressively push down towers. They seem to be scared of the initiation of the lockdown power from AL, especially of Musica, because he could zip in from such a long range and turn what looks like a good fight into an absolute disaster. This bear is gonna die, but instantly gets resummoned. Shadow Shaman spotting out some AL movement in the woods with his clone. Not gonna fool anyone though, and an instant smoke up from Absolute Legends. They probably want to go for Bambo, but instead they're gonna transition up to the top lane. They could just bulldoze this tower. Only 311 HP left on this. Musica probably could have taken it out by himself, but I'm sure Mouz is okay with letting their tier 1 top tower take a fall. No teleports are coming in. Yeah, there you go. Musica taking down the tower by itself, but now Musica is acting as bait. Bleak and Shaitan are both here. They're waiting for Mouz Sports heroes to transition in. They want them to try to pick up the Storm Spirit, and because the Orchid is done, that Mouz might want to do that. No, they're actually just going to go for a push of their own, sending out the Spiderlings to farm instead of actually sacrificing them to the tower for free gold for the other team. As I say that, more Spiderlings are coming back in. Spiderlings are trying to harass AL, spot them out as these Plague Wards and the Creep Wave just slowly crawl in, but the Fade Bolt is going to launch through the Mouz Sports side, weakening their push by just a little bit. Tower is now starting to take a little bit of damage. In the meantime, though, Bleak is pushing down on the bottom lane. Music has zipped him, and he's going for oh my god, Shadow Shaman just got eviscerated. Venomancer as well. Bamboo trying to hold his ground, but it's not enough. Musica with that BKB is just simply an unstoppable force at this point. Kuroki does have his heal up, but it's not going to be enough. He does throw out one last spear before he goes down, but wow, 4 down for Mouz, only 2 down for AL, and AL only lost their support heroes. Blink in Epicenter was also used by Shaitan, but really the star of that fight was Storm Spirit. As soon as I click down onto this bot lane, Musica zips in. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, shit, gotta get back to that mid lane. But Musica with that BKB initiation, that's what they need to do. Now let's take a look again at the EXP graph. It is dipping into AL's favor. They did eventually do exactly what I was saying. They were just biding their time just a little bit, maybe getting this Maelstrom out. Let's take a look at the gold graph. The gold graph is starting to dip in favor of them as well. Now they're going to take a free Roshan. Mousesport's not in a position to actually do anything about that. Black is around, but Roshan is already dead. Musica has picked up an Aegis to the Immortal, so his initiation is going to be absolutely scary. Unless he gets hit by a spear, then he's not going to be able to do much. He does get hit by that arrow, and Black doing the right-click damage with that Mantis style is going to pop off the Aegis of the Immortal very quickly. Storm Spirit is going to be very sad about that. Bambo is here, going to go for Snoopy, silencing him, start opening up on that Crystal Maiden. But the Crystal Maiden does have support waiting right behind her. Looks like we're going to have another fight on our hands. Watch out for the Storm Spirit zip in initiation, trying to get 147 or Sing Sing before they actually drop off any of their spells. What has been stolen? Nature's Attendance, not the most useful spell for Godot to steal. Usually you want to steal something a little bit more game breaking, but if the fight becomes very long and drawn out, which it really shouldn't, then that's going to come in handy. So Storm Spirit just looking for an angle to initiate. If he could pick off one of the casters of Mouz before the fight actually gets going, then AL will be able to just completely steamroll the rest of the fight. Is the Epicenter off cooldown? Yes, it is. Shaitan does have his Epicenter. The wards are up, and the Venomancer ultimate is also up at this point. So both teams are at full strength. They're not crippled by anything. Well, I guess Spirit Bear resummoned, but that's not that of a big deal. Smoke now, AL, Musica, Snoopy, as well as Shaitan, looking for a flank. And 157 is at the poor angle, but looks like, wow, Mouz, they seem to smell something is up. Unless they go up this hill, then they're going to be in for a World of Hurt. But they're actually just going to farm up together and pull back from that push. They realized that they weren't getting where. Oh no, zip in from the Storm Spirit, going after Kuroki. Blink in from Shaitan as well, and Kuroki, silence, unable to get that heal off, is going to take a fall. In the meantime, the rest of their team is pushing down the tier 1 tower in the mid lane. Everything is just falling apart for Mousesports. AL just fighting so fiercely, and Storm Spirit zipping in. Not going to find anyone there. That was actually a blind zip. Just trying to push his luck, see if he could find anyone. If he did find anyone, then they would have died, like pretty much for sure. Arrow now going to fly through, nail that range creep. He did not deserve that, but the tier 1 tower in the mid has gone down. Tier 2 tower in the mid has gone down as well. And now Mouz is kind of on the back foot. The gold graph is going to bend forward into AL's advantage very shortly. The experience graph is still already showing AL is in the advantage. Oh wow, that is so satisfying. I love Sand King's Caustic Finale against Broodmother. It is just so amazing because everything blows up and there's just gold everywhere. Let's actually take another look at that gold earned graph. It's almost at 0, but really at this point, 30 minutes into the game, that's a very good advantage, and Bleak is actually going to transition back into his Radiance. He must have just gotten a whole bunch of gold at the one time, and it's like, hey, I could just go for Radiance right now. Of course, after a certain point, I believe it's the 25 minute mark, is when you typically don't want to go for Radiance anymore because the enemy team will be bulky enough so that the Radiance burn doesn't do as much, and it's simply not worth it. It's better to go for some other items, but hell, if you're rolling in cash, then might as well just one-shot that Radiance, or almost one-shot that Radiance. Musica has picked up a double damage rune, looking for the Broodmother, not going to find him. Broodmother's playing very safe. Shaitan has picked up a Blink Dagger as well and has a gem. I believe that was spotted out. It had to be spotted out by those Spiderlings. No way he could actually get that Sandstorm off without Bambo clicking on the Sand King. Or any of his teammates, actually. But Bleak is only 100 gold away from his Radiance, and he'll probably get that at this kill. Yeah, he has his Radiance. So Radiance and Maelstrom at 31 minutes, kind of an unorthodox build. But hey, he has a lot of magic damage to pour out. And now this is the kind of lone druid that could fight this Mirana toe-to-toe. Mirana is going to go for an MKB, it looks like. I doubt it's going to be Daedalus. But she's going to be pumping out the damage. But Lone Druid is a very, very tanky hero, and he could actually resist that damage and return it now as well. Especially if he gets another initiation like the one Musica provided last time. All of AL now going to go onto the top lane. Try to push that out, I guess. They don't really have... I mean, like, this tower is kind of weak, but they have a long way to go as far as their creep wave is concerned. And now all 5 from Mouz are smoked up, looking for someone on the mid lane. They're going to transition into the AL jungle. Yeah, they're going to go into the jungle, look for someone there as well. They're still not going to find anyone. Maybe they're going to try to go for a backstab. Oh, that would have been... Yeah, they actually still smoked. Are they smoking right now? No, the smoke's not going to run out. They should be able to get in good engagement. If they pick off Shaitan before he gets his Blink Epicenter, then AL is going to absolutely be very sad. The Miran ultimate has been popped. They're going to get into a perfect position, but everyone from AL is hiding in the trees. There's a blink hit from Sing Sing, and Musica instantly pops the BKB, pulling at Sing Sing, and Sing Sing instantly going down. Snoopy's even dropping his ultimate, 157 dropping his ultimate as well, but Sing Sing's, Sing Sing bought back into the game. Crystal made an ultimate, a little bit stronger. Black on the run from Musica. He's kind of low on mana, but Black, it looks like he's going to run out of there just fine. Bambo has gone down as well. Blink out from the Sand King, and wow, how did Snoopy live? How did the Sand King live? How did everyone from AL live through that? Sing Sing unfortunately could not get any of his spells off. I don't know why. Like, I think it's just Sing Sing Shadow Shaman. Like, the S's kind of threw me off there. I'm gonna blame that at least. But he just couldn't get anything off. As soon as Musica saw him blink in, the BKB instantly popped, and you know that Shadow Shaman wanted to get the Hex or anything off on that Storm Spirit. But the reflexes from Musica were simply a little bit too good, and that is going to cost Mouz a set of their Raxes. AL, there you go. Finally holding on to that gold lead, and wow, a substantial experience lead as well. They're just going to push out the other lanes. 1 Rax in advantage. That fight did not go well for Mouz at all. I feel like Black might have popped his ultimate a little prematurely as far as initiation goes. But you also have to remember that Sand King does have a gem. So even though they were getting closer with the Moonlight Shadow, they would not have been able to get the complete jump onto the Absolute Legends side. So that probably would have factored into a little bit of how Musica got off his BKB so fast. I mean, like, they saw him coming. You have the gem. Now Bleak could go for a Mjolnir, could go for an Assault Cuirass. He could go for anything at this point. AL is just so vastly far ahead. They played that early, what? I guess this was like 10-15 minute mark. Yeah, the 15-minute mark, they pretty much played it perfectly since then. They did exactly what they needed to do. They got the picks, they kept Mouz off balance, and they actually managed to prevent them from taking any of their tier 2 towers, which is kind of surprising considering Mouz's lineup. Like, even the tier 2 tower in the top lane, which is where Bambo was camped out, did not get anything because he was forced to send these Diter Eidolons apparently into the jungle instead of sending them into the meat grinder that is Musica's Storm Spirit. If he did that, well, Musica would have had a whole lot more, probably a Hex at this point, if Bambo did not send those Spiderlings into the jungle. Now AL, they know that they're very close to a victory. They smell it. Epicenter is off cooldown. All the spells, in fact, are available to Absolute Legends. They're going to push down the mid lane just a little bit so they could keep Mouz from defending this tier 2 on the bot lane, which is actually very soft, only 500 HP there. Bambo is trying to get a push on the top lane, trying to take down this tower. A little bit more health than the bottom lane, tier 2 of the Radiants. But if he could get a tower trade, like, it's definitely a lot more than they would have gotten otherwise. But they're not looking good at all, Mouz Sports. They lost a Rax, which of course means that the creep wave will continue to push in. It's going to take a little bit, however, considering the amount of pressure that Bambo is adding to that lane. But this tower is going to go down, and AL, do they want to keep going? Roshan is up in just about 2 minutes. So they could choose to just farm the enemy jungle, because if they stick together, there's no way that Mouz can take him in a fight. Teleports now into the top lane. Huge zip in from Musica, going after Bambo. He does not have his BKB up yet, and he's going to take a fall from the Sand King of all people. Was that a burrow strike or was that a right click? I'm pretty sure that was just a right click, but Shaitan picking up a very vulnerable Broodmother. Got a little bit too overconfident. The huge initiation range from Musica really showing itself there. because Musica did not even have a time to react. The teleportation was like somewhere over here for Musica, and zipped in all the way over here. Just simply insane range on that Storm Spirit level 3 ultimate. Now that he has a Sheepstake, he's going to have a lot more of that ball lightning action. Black has picked up an invisibility rune, so he's going to be spotting out what looks like Bleak, but if he's got to be careful, because if Sand King gets a little bit too close, then, well, Black is going to take a Burrow Strike, and then he's most likely going to go down if the Chain Stun is there. But AL are very conscious of this Roshan timer. It is going to be up very shortly, and with this top lane already pushing down, wow, that creep wave is huge. Mouse Sports is going to have to send at least one person to defend that, possibly two, depending on who they actually send. And that means the Roshan fight is going to be very weak. AL has all day. Bot lane is pushing back towards them, but they could clear that creep wave out very easily. And mid lane looks like it's kind of a wash. That lane isn't going to go anywhere really quickly, but here we go. The Roshan has spawned, and it's just going to be Bleak alone versus the Roshan. Arrow going to fly out, not hit anyone. If that did hit anyone, that would have been pretty bad. But now here's this huge zip in from Musica. Blink and BKB in from Shaitan. Burrow Strike not hitting anyone, but the epicenter is there. Kuroki is going to take a lot of damage. Storm Spirit already picking up the Venom Master Rubik, picking up the Shadow Shaman. Everyone from Mouz is dying. Bambo is trying to go for Snoopy, but the Crystal made an ultimate doing too much damage. Snoopy with the ultimate picking up that kill. A team wipe in favor of AL. They're going to get this Roshan, and in the meantime, Mouz's base is completely breached. There are ranged creeps and melee creeps and catapults, everything, everywhere. And there's the GG call from Black. Mouz have had enough. AL is going to take this game of the preliminaries. AL putting a very strong performance despite the fact that they were behind for like 17 minutes of this game. They recovered from it and completely demolished Mouz. And Mouz, I think what they really needed to do was get these towers down. They had the Shadow Shaman ultimate, but they just were afraid of actually committing to a fight because of Musica's Storm Spirit. But if they managed to get some towers down, things would have looked pretty different. They would have had a lot more gold. They would have gotten that mech up on the Venomancer a lot quicker, and they would have been in a little bit of a better position to actually take this game. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mouz versus Absolute Legends from the preliminaries of the International. I'm going to try to cast Star Ladder if that ticket ever decides to work. And then I kind of lied about casting all of International because I realized I've already seen most of these games. I haven't seen this one. I haven't seen most of the preliminary games actually. So, okay, we're gonna go here, I guess. So I'll try to get the what's it called? Star Ladder games up as soon as it works. And I think that's it. So thanks for watching, guys. GG.